should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. Listen up, I got
This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free.
Hey y'all, I'm so glad y'all are here. Hey Native Girl, Lisa Lynn, Jenny Jim, prayers for your pup. Oh, Mad Monkey. I'm so sorry for what's going on. Southern Cat's good to see you. Abella's good to see you. I'm driving, taking my wiener dog to the vet. Her back is out. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, Mad Monkey. I hope that everything's okay. Hey Tom, JC, Hannah UK, good to see you. Um, Roxanne, thank you for becoming a member. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. I really appreciate that. I will grab the crazy train and pick you up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Excuse me. Cara, I saw that Caitlin is here. Thank you for being here. Lena Lee, good to see you. Southern Cats. Kimmy C123, Lisa Lynn, Hannah. Good to see y'all. So thank y'all for being here. Indy, hello, good to see you. Bad girl, you okay? Yeah, I was gonna message in Discord to make sure y'all are doing all right because I know that you have had some things going on. Hey, Cindy from sunny South Florida, good to see you. Okay, I wanted to show y'all real quick. They're not live yet, but I have this up, so as soon as they come, I will put it on. Now they're saying pretrial hearing. Okay, okay. So a lot of people, like when I called, it was like jury selection or something like that. And it's not, this doesn't have anything to do with the jury stuff, even though that jury stuff was scheduled for today because there's still a lot of hearings that have to be heard. Hey, Nessa UK and Lori Ann, happy hump day. And so, Wish 2 News did do a little video on it real quick. I just want to show y'all that and recap everything for y'all in case anybody doesn't know about this case.
And at this hour, we start in Osceola County. West 2 News is going to be in the courthouse today when this man, you see his mugshot right there, the man accused of killing and abusing 13-year-old Madeline Soto is set to go before a judge.
Stephan Sterns was the boyfriend of Maddie's mother and allegedly sexually abused Madeline for years. West 2's Bob Hazen is joining us live in the studio. Bob, Sterns' trial is supposed to start later this month.
Yeah, really in less than 2 weeks, but we do know there are still a lot of issues to be resolved, and both sides appear to be asking for a delay. You'll remember Madeline Soto was first reported missing last year when she did not show up for school at Hunters Creek Middle the day after her 13th birthday party. Her body was later found on the side of a road in Osceola County. Kissimmee police say her mom's boyfriend, Stephan Sterns, murdered her, and they found pictures and videos on his phone, allegedly showing him sexually abusing Maddie for years.
And I hope that he serves all of the time that is humanly possible for all of the crimes that he has committed. Oh my goodness. Cara, Cindy from sunny South Florida just gifted 5 memberships, and so did Cara. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Oh my goodness. That was so very sweet and supportive of y'all. I did not have my light pulled up because I was watching to see who's coming live first. But if anybody, whoever was gifted from Cara and Cindy, please tell them thank you. And I will play the crazy train to pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you. And welcome to our 15 new members. Thank you guys so much. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. That was so amazing. We got amazing of y'all. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Hey, Linda. Hey, Joy. I was eating ice cream. Hey, Max. Good to see y'all.
He's now facing 2 separate criminal cases, one for the murder, the other for 60 counts related to that abuse. Today's hearing is going to be focused on that sexual abuse case. Sterns' lawyers are asking the judge to toss out all of the evidence found on his phone because they claim investigators don't have a warrant and coerced him into handing the phone over. The defense filed those motions almost 3 months ago, but the judge still has not ruled on them. Whatever he does decide would have a huge impact on the trial. Last week, they also asked the judge to remove all newspapers from the courthouse until it.
So I'm hoping that we'll finally get an answer to the pretrial motions, specifically the hearing to have the cell phone evidence suppressed. I don't think that Detective Tangler violated his constitutional rights when she asked him for the cell phone. He handed over the pen. He handed over all the information willingly. I don't think that she did anything wrong, honestly. So I hope that we get an answer to that today as well. Kimmy C123, thank you so very much for becoming a member. I will grab the crazy train and pick you up on the way to Speculation Station. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. Thank you so very much. I like your picture.
I'm going off the rails on a crazy train.
Thank you so much. She said, I busted myself out. Whoop. Cara said, you guys are so welcome. Aw. Nessa UK said, thank you so much. Cindy and I are on the same wavelengths. You guys are.
Trial is over. At this point, the sex abuse trial is set to start on July 15th. We do know that both prosecutors and the defense have filed a motion to continue the case, so that date could be pushed back. Today's hearing set for 1:30 in the afternoon. Sonica, back to you.
So I really think that that date is going to be pushed back. If I had to guess, here's another one we can watch real quick. Let me see if they
yesterday charged with vehicular homicide at reckless driving.
gracious.
In August 2022, troopers say Carlson was driving between 80 and
Driving between 80 and 90 on the daggum highway. Good Lord. All right. So I did see another one. Let's see if we can find it. Well, dang it. All right, let's check Fox. Might have been from them. Yep, there it is.
Happening today, there is a pretrial hearing in the Stephan Sterns case. He's accused of killing and sexually abusing 13-year-old Madeline Soto.
His first case focuses only on the sexual assault allegations. Let's bring.
Yes, Rise of the Phoenix. They are streaming the hearing, as far as I know, and I'm just waiting on them to start.
Bring in Fox 35's Amanda McKenzie, who joins us live this morning with an update on this case. And Amanda, good morning to you. We do know this trial has already been delayed several times already.
That's right. So the trial was last supposed to start in May, but the judge pushed it back to July because attorneys on both sides of the case said they would not be ready for trial in time. Now, at the last hearing, the prosecutors and defense went back and forth over what they believed what evidence should be included and excluded at trial. Now, both state prosecutors and the defense team for Stephan Sterns agree that information from his cell phone was gathered without a search warrant. But the state argues detectives were right to take his phone and go through it because they were concerned Sterns was allegedly trying to get rid of evidence.
Now, let me be clear. When they say both sides agree on that, they agree that detectives never obtained a warrant. They're not agreeing, like the state does not agree that it was against his constitutional rights and that Detective Tangler was outside of her constitutional bounds to obtain the cell phone like they did and get the pen from him.
The defense said Sterns only gave consent to look at certain apps and even called on Sterns to testify.
Defendant attempted to destroy evidence already by factory resetting his phone.
What was your understanding, if any, as to what they were going to do with it?
We were just going to check my Google Maps and check to see if I was logged into Google, and that was it. That was all I agreed to.
Were you shown, or did they have a warrant?
They did not.
He stood there and never said no. It's not the onus. The onus is not on Mr. Sterns to say no. The onus is on law enforcement to ask if they can continue.
His defense team is still hoping the judge will consider tossing the evidence from the sex crimes trial. We are still awaiting a decision from the judge. Sterns was the live-in boyfriend of Madeline Soto's mother. Investigators say based on photo and video evidence recovered from his cell phone, which he voluntarily handed over, that his alleged sexual abuse of Maddie Soto had been going on for years. Maddie went missing on February 26th of last year, just days after her 13th birthday. Investigators found the teen's body 4 days later in a wooded area in St. Cloud. Sterns is facing 60 charges for sexual battery, molestation, and possession of child pornography. His sex abuse trial is set to begin in July with a pretrial hearing today at 1:30. We will be sure to let you know what happens. As for his murder trial, that is slated to begin in September.
Oh.
She was acting kind of weird before she went to sleep, so I don't know. She was acting kind of weird.
I didn't mean to do that, but
Happening today, there is a pretrial hearing in the Stephan Sterns case. He's accused.
Thank you, Julie Ann, for being here. I appreciate that. So yeah, I started a little early because I didn't want us to miss anything, and they still haven't come back yet. I'm flipping between that and West 2 News. That's not. And they don't have anything scheduled. I'm going to check. I'm going to put this one back up, and then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to check, what is there, West News 6. Let's try that one. News 6 Orlando. Okay, so this is what they have. Lord, I live in North Carolina, but I know all of the news stations in Florida. Isn't that crazy? Because I keep up with it so much. Julianne said, just put my headphones in and told my partner I was watching the Stephan Sterns hearing, and his first words were, "That's the Madeline case, isn't it?" That's how much I talk about it. Yeah. Hey, Sadie's mama. Good to see you. They're usually a little late, but one of them will usually get on there before the other ones do. So let's see. There is one more that I can't think of. I'm sure I've got it on my phone. Let me see. Hold on just a minute. I should have something. Okay, it's WFTV 9. WFTV 9. Okay, and they don't have anything showing right now either. Everybody's talking about Kohberger and Diddy. I was going to ask you, I saw Tom, so we're going to go back to this one because I know that this one is, we're just waiting on them. And I've got all of them up. Hey, Laura. Good to see you. Laura from Kissimmee, Florida. Thank you for being here. Blood stains and blue lights. Good to see you. There will be both a Florida state murder, CSA murder, and all the accompanying charges in a federal case on the CSAM and child exploitation. Jim will go down with him and everyone on their client list. I hope so. Hey, Sarah. I'm so glad you were gifted. So yeah, I wanted to talk to you, Tom. I saw that you were upset about the Diddy thing. I saw that it said that there was verdict reached, and there was like, I think it said he was guilty on 3 counts and then not guilty on 1 or something. And then I started listening to news stations this morning while I was doing all of the things that I had to do, and I could never find out what the charges were, like what the decision was. So what was he guilty of? Hey, Hio, good to see you. Sadie's mama, good to see you. I know they were arguing about the racketeering charges. He was guilty on 2 counts and then not guilty on 3. He was not guilty on the main 3. Wow. Okay. Always on empty. I lived on Baca Raton Road 15 years as a CNA, left in 2001. Oh, wow. Only prostitution. Okay. Hey, Boomer. All right, let's check. I'm going to keep clicking and keep checking while we wait. This one doesn't have anything yet. Yeah, they're showing fireworks things for the 4th. I thought that I would start early so we wouldn't miss it. Hopefully nobody trips over the cord yet. So, what do y'all know about the Kohberger case so far? Diddy faces two 10 years max sentences. Wow. He's going to be a free man this afternoon. Are you serious? Hey, brother. Good to see you. Diddy was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution under the Mann Act. Are you for real? Lord, I feel bad for Cassie, all those people that testified against him, Kid Cudi. Didn't Kid Cudi come in and talk? Like, I know he tried to blow up Kid Cudi's car or something. Oh my God, all of the freaking bodyguard, like everybody that testified against him is going to be scared for their lives. People are going to be dying. But at the same time, it's New York. I mean, I don't know. I kind of expect it out of New York. Up there. I apologize for eating on stream. I was eating some ice cream. It's hard for me to eat right now. Okay. 1, racketeering conspiracy, not guilty. 2, sex trafficking, not guilty. 3, transportation to engage in prostitution, guilty. 4, sex trafficking, not guilty. 5, transportation to engage in prostitution, guilty. I bet he tries to sue Cassie too. With it being New York, I mean, I don't know. From what I understand, I've never been to New York, but from what I understand, there's a lot of corruption already up there and in the general DC places in close relative places that are close to DC in general, like New Jersey, places like that. So I mean, I guess I was expecting more since they brought him up on all these charges, but like his reputation is probably ruined. But unfortunately, not much else. My name is Allegedly, and I am speculating allegedly. So this again is West 2. They said they're going to air it live. This is the news station I called yesterday and asked about it. And they said that they would be there tomorrow and they would have it live. And we just watched a video about that. Their current live feed is showing weather. Again, we've got this up. I'm going to refresh the tab. Nothing yet. That one was scheduled for 9:15. This is ABC 9. Nothing yet. So we're waiting. I don't know if they're going to I don't know if he'll be in court. But hopefully he will be made to appear. That might be what's taken so long. It might be transporting him from his prison to court, but they're like 20 minutes late, which is kind of unusual. Yeah, I'm worried about Cassie. Justin, are you talking about, is that one of his children? Anyone wanting to know the facts on BK, rewatch the hearing today. The state is going through all the facts. I want to go over that a little bit. Like usually out west when they have like hearings for Lori or Brian Kohberger and things like that, it usually ends up being making it run too late here for me because I have to take care of the geese and the goats and all the things that I have to do in the evening, and I cook dinner because I don't eat out. I don't trust other people to make my food for me and my family. So I usually am cooking, and it ends up being too late for me on the East Coast to watch a lot of stuff from out West. It does. It says allegedly speculating, born in 2005. It does. It sure does. Rotten Mango is there in the courts. And on one of her videos, she said the judge had to yell at Diddy for staring and nodding to the jury. That's why I think he had people there. Oh my goodness. They are these stankin' Sterns. Hey, CC True Crime, good to see you. I'm genuinely concerned about all of the people who testified in the Diddy case with him getting out like that. If he's facing 2 10-year sentences, he'll probably get time served for what he's got and then just be on probation, especially with all that money he's got. Again, I just like to show you guys that I am constantly checking even while I'm talking. We ain't gonna miss it. I'll tell you that. Okay, go back here. Let me click on them. Guilty. Oh, there it is. Guilty of prostitution, acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering. That's that one we just watched. Yeah, it still says upcoming. Saw this. Officials announced results of Volusia County joint operation. And I saw that the judge's wife was talking. Through her attorney. Maybe we can look at that real quick. Oh, I've got something for you real quick that's short on my page that I wanted to show y'all today. So we'll jump over there. And since it's just a short, it won't take but just a minute. So I have a document. Okay. There was a joint motion to continue filed, and I requested it, and I have it. Yes, it was filed June 26th, but nobody else has that document unless they got it today. I haven't checked today. So we'll watch this where I read that to you guys. Oh my gosh. I hate that it starts muted.
All right, y'all, I have the so far unreleased joint motion to continue. This is the state of Florida versus Stephan Sterns. And it reads, comes now the state of Florida by and through the undersigned assistant state attorney and states and alleged as follows. 1. In conferring with opposing counsel, both parties moved to continue this case from its present trial date of July 14th, 2025. 2. The grounds are that the parties are awaiting on rulings from the court on pretrial motions. Additional pretrial motions may be filed, and preparation for trial is contingent on these matters.
No, always on empty. You're not blocked, sweetheart. I thought it was in August. The CSAM is in September. And I don't see anything other than that. Sometimes YouTube blocks comments, but that's all I see. In my honest opinion, he either got members of the jury or he had people on the jury. Yeah, probably. And then Roxanne said, I think I need to look up the difference between prostitution, sex trafficking versus transportation to engage in prostitution. I'd like to know the differences. Yeah, look it up per the state of New York, too, because it varies by state. If the jury didn't know about him and they have concerns before the trial, I can understand why they might now. Yeah. I think everybody needs to be concerned, honestly.
3. The parties request an in-court hearing to discuss new trial dates if the motion is to be granted by the court.
And I think that's what we're waiting for on happening right now. I'm hoping that the judge will give us some answers to some of these motions, especially the suppression hearing, and then probably grant this joint motion to continue.
And Stephan is due in court tomorrow, July 2nd of 2025, and there's your certification that a copy has been sent. Now, the Judge Keith Karsten, said that all motions had to be entered by June 30th of 2025. So with them stating that additional pretrial motions may be filed, I mean, that goes against what he told them to do. He told them to have everything in by June 30th of 2025 so he can make a ruling and get them out. So I'm curious as to how this is going to go. If I had to guess, I would say that he's probably going to grant it because they are both asking to continue, but I'm intrigued because he did set that date of June 30th. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching.
I was muted. Oh my God, I was muted. Okay. I said, what did I say? Okay. So it's contingent. Oh my goodness. I'm going to pull it back up. I bet my thing muted when it started playing. Oh my gosh. Sorry, y'all. All right. Let me make sure it's not muted again. It's not. Oh, what's going on? I lost all faith in humanity at this point. I'm sorry. You know, hold on. I'll come back to that point in just a second. So again, the grounds are that the parties are waiting on rulings from the court on pretrial motions. Additional pretrial motions may be filed, and preparations for trial is contingent on these motions. Basically, they're saying you haven't decided on the motions. We don't know the rulings of the motions that have been filed in court, so we can't proceed with trial as planned. We'll find out more whenever they do air him being in court that we're waiting on to happen. But I don't know, what else. I don't know what that all means. Like I thought they were going to pull out the card of, hey, the sheriff just got in trouble for a bunch of racketeering charges and we need more time for that reason, but where did you find that? So why are they saying that they're gonna air it if they're not? Because they all said they were gonna have it live and be in court. So it says felony court minutes order pretrial held defendant's appearance previously waived joint motion to continue denied granted case reset for pretrial and trial. Let's pull it up. I don't understand why the news would tell me they were going to have it and then not have it. Like, I really am kind of pissed off right now. Hold on, y'all. I'm looking it up. Do. All right. ABC 9 did not have it on there. This is still saying it's scheduled. Let me go to their channel. It says scheduled, but let's click over here. Oh, sorry. We're going to click over here to this website. So it says felony court minutes order pretrial held defendant's appearance previously waived joint motion to continue was denied Granted case reset for pretrial and trial. And there's the add-on that was set for today. I'm going to request that document. These are still showing that they're going to be there. West 2 is talking about the weather. They haven't said anything about it yet. So I don't know. We might go somewhere else and talk about something else. Like this is still here. See if I go to live, 29 waiting, notify me. Let me try to copy this so the people in there know real quick. Hold on. Hold on. There. I don't know what it means, Sarah. I mean, you think it's still going to be going on? No faith, said Joy. Yeah. I'm going to be pissed off if they don't show it. Basically, it means that he denied the joint motion to continue, but he did give them a chance to reset pretrial hearing date. I mean, but that's all we know so far. So they entered the minutes, order pretrial held, defendant's appearance previously waived, joint motion to continue was denied, granted, case reset for pretrial and trial. So if I'm understanding right, they denied the joint motion to continue, but they gave them a chance to reset the trial and everything. See, they're still showing that car crash. Well, they were doing the news, and now they're doing the car crash. Yeah. So we'll make that big. This is still showing up, but nobody's here. I mean, and I'm not understanding why. Hey, sorry, blah, blah, blah. Good to see you. I don't understand why they, the news station would tell me they were going to have it and then they didn't, and why they weren't if they're not allowed to play it until after it's happened or something. I do need to request that document and see. Nothing's happened yet. I'm monitoring the website as well. Thank you. I appreciate it. How do we tell our children in the end the monster kills and the monster kills the hero and lives to tell about it? That's a good question. It's sad. Well, I mean, this is scheduled. Like, this is actually scheduled for Fox 35 out of Orlando, so it should be on there. Unless for whatever reason they weren't allowed in the courtroom or weren't able to get it. Let me see what Wesh is doing. Wesh is showing other things on the news. They're not talking about it yet. Out of Marion County. Brian Kohberger sentencing scheduled for July 23rd. Right, but it's 2:07 here. So that was scheduled for 1:15, and that's going to be my time, and it's actually almost 2:15, an hour late. I'm about to call them. I will call them. Wow, look at this. Cocaine found on beach. What is that guy's name?
Exactly the cocaine came from.
Yosemite Sam.
Well, the House is working on President Donald Trump's sweeping budget bill.
We're not going to be talking about that over here. No politics. All right, now give me an update. Let's see. Well, that short that I put out, see this, it was put joint motion to continue, right? Was released on June 26th of 2025, but you see this requested here, like it's not a document. They haven't put it out on the website yet. If it's out on the website, it'll look like this. Like if I clicked on that, it would give me the docket, right? So nobody has that joint motion to continue. And I'm going to request that, but it'll be a couple of days before I get it back. And maybe that'll give us an idea of what happened. Yosemite Sam, thank you. Today was a foundation shattering day for me. The facade we call the justice system. Yeah, it's money and power for Diddy. It's money and power. The whole time he was like, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay, don't worry, like, I got this. And everybody's like, but no, you don't. And in the end, yes, he did. And the only way that happens is if somebody's paid off or something like that. And it's not, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think with people wearing free Diddy shirts being there that weren't even supposed to be there, that somebody in his echelon got a hold of some of the jurors and paid them money. Diddy's got a lot of freaking money. So I'm sure a lot of freaking jurors are going to be a lot more richer when this is over because he would pay to keep his ass out of jail. And in my opinion, P. Diddy is the Epstein. Like Epstein went down and then P. Diddy became more mainstream known for the same thing that Epstein was doing to politicians, all the people in Hollywood and all of that. So I know he rubs elbows with some pretty prominent people. I'm not surprised, honestly, that it went this way. I am, upset and sad about it. I'm concerned for all the people who testified against him, but it's not surprising for me, honestly. To quote Mr. Rogers for you, when I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. That is a great quote, Sarah. Cara, thank you for sharing that with us. It's tiring watching smug monsters get away with their crimes and lies because they have fame and or money. Abhorrent. I agree. When I walk on our beaches, I always wonder if drugs will float over. So far, only a homemade wooden Ardenac chair floated to me. That's cool. People not letting Diddy get away with it while our justice system fails. We need to be vigilant and not let anyone forget what he did. Right. Hey, Kelsey. He has one, but I'm not sure when. Okay, so this one was scheduled for 1:15 and nothing is on yet. West 2 said that they were going to have it. This is what they got on right now. And I'm trying to see what they go to. And then this is what the court website has, and it says, for today, felony court minutes, order pretrial held, defendant's appearance previously waived, joint motion to continue was denied, and they granted case reset for pretrial and trial. So if I had to guess, I would say there's going to be a new date for the trial for the CSAM. And at some point, I'll be able to, probably when I get off the live today, I'll go ahead and request that document and try to see what it says. Maybe the hearing this morning went long and they pushed the time back on this one. I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably not. Oh, there it goes. They took it down. Yep. Okay, so let's go to Wesh and see what they have. All right. Yeah, they don't have anything on it just yet. They're talking about
Doesn't stop the newest member of the Orlando Magic from celebrating. Tyus Jones quickly taking to social media after agreeing to a one-year deal worth $7 million. That's according to reports. Jones is a huge upgrade on offense and gives the Magic their first true point guard on the roster. He averaged more than 10 points and 5 rebounds per game last year with the Suns. The deal can become official when the new league.
So we might go over to Brian Kohberger real quick. Because I'm not seeing anything yet. So let's go check this out real quick. And then come back, maybe. Well, nothing's going on there yet. Let's see what we can find. There we go. We need to be here. Oh my goodness.
They will come to order. The Honorable Stephen Hitler, presiding judge.
Okay, before we go to that, and I'm gonna have to change my thumbnail and everything. Hey, Linda Glover, good to see you. If Jay really cared about Madeline, Jen would have been angry with Stephan, but she was still defending him. She planned this crime. You think so? You're all entitled to what you're feeling with this. It's disgusting that the jurors came to that decision. However, I personally refuse to give up hope that something good will arise from this. I hope so. Yep, we've got it up here. Oh, you said that the trial's set for July 22nd. Really? Did you see that? Are you from the chat I was talking in? I would love to know where you saw that. Okay. So, we can see what lots going on today. Hey, Wolfie. Will I cover the Corey Richardson's trial? I believe she will be found guilty. There's a lot of evidence. She's another narcissist criminal. Maybe. Refresh, there's a new entry. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Let's refresh it here, and then we'll jump back over to Fox 35. Because I called them and they said they were going to cover it. All right, let's go back to Fox. Thank you for that, Rosie. I appreciate it. So we got that from 5 hours ago. I don't see anything. All right. Four days ago, 11 months, 5 hours. What the crap? I'm not seeing anything yet. I'm working on it. Nothing there. Diddy trial. Nothing there. Nothing there. That's not it. I don't understand why it's not there. Hey, Orange. Just wish Stephan Sterns pleads guilty and save jurors' eyes and minds from evidence. I hope so too. I clicked on that. So that one was from 5 hours ago. And I don't see anything there. Okay, let's go to what's the other one? We did Wish, WFTV. I don't see anything there. Let's try this. What? You can pay the balance online. Oh my goodness. There it is right there. Jury trial set for July 22nd at 9 a.m. in courtroom 4F before Judge Keith Karsten. Okay, so they moved the trial, and thank you for that. I would have known if I'd have looked up there. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. So his trial evidently will be July 22nd at 9 a.m. Why didn't they, and see, it's already got that I requested this document. I wonder why they didn't have it on the news channels. Hey, Dolo. Like, can Maddie finally get justice? This pedo always finds ways, right? His team's going to do something to get rid of Jen's immunity. I don't think she needs immunity. And again, if you don't know anything and you ain't done nothing, what do you need immunity for? Jen has a need to be in control. She would not be so chill if this were not her idea. She wanted Stephan for herself. She had a smile on her face when she told police they were trying to get him back. They were trying to get him back. BK sentencing is July 23rd. Yeah, there's so much going on. So his is set for July 22nd, which they're going to do the jury selection and all that. So it'll probably start the day after, a day or two after Brian Kohberger's sentencing. All right. We're going to jump to Brian Kohberger at least for a few minutes while I change the thumbnail and put a post out stating that his trial is set for July 22nd. And then we'll continue to talk about Diddy. Bullshit. Oh, you want to see?
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. A bullshit.
I made another one for the telling the lies from the rumors in the Jack and Lily Sullivan case, and I forgot to play it. I'm going to play it.
God, is this real?
So that's a new one I have. Oh my God, is this real? Oh Lord, that's how I feel about the Diddy case. Oh my God, is this real? I thought you were talking about Corey. All right, so we're going to watch this for a minute while I change my thumbnail and announce that trial is set for July 22nd. We don't know yet. There hasn't been Manders. There hasn't been anything set stating what happened with that. Like the judge hasn't entered that in yet. I'll go ahead and pull up the Osceola County while we watch this for a second and keep it pulled up. But there's not been any document entered as far as what they decided on that. Unfortunately, and I'm dying to know my dang self. And it's concerning that they said he waived his right to appear. So does that mean he doesn't have to be there at any trials? Like now I'm concerned. Now I'm concerned. We need I don't recall. Okay, I'll work on that. I don't know. I would think that they have to have hearings there. I mean, they're allowed to have cameras there because that's what was ruled, right? Like they filed a motion to remove newspapers from the courthouse, but the judge said that they are not blocking cameras from being in the courtroom. Right here, pretrial held defendant's appearance previously waived. So does that mean he doesn't have to come to court anymore? I don't know. All right, let me bring y'all back over here.
All right, this is CR 0124316665. Defendant is present in custody with counsel, Ms. Thompson, Ms. Jennings, and pardon me, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoff, and Ms. Barlow. The state's present with Mr. Thompson, Mr. Horowitz, Ms. Jennings, and Mr. Nye is here as well. Am I missing
Okay.
anybody? I'm sorry.
Ms. Allen is here as well.
Ms.
Your
Allen
Honor.
is here as well. Very well, thank you.
He's
All
talking.
right, we are here today to entertain
slow
a
for
change
me.
of plea. Before I start, I want to address some issues of concern and otherwise. First, I appreciate everybody in attendance today being on their best behavior. Please, no outbursts or demonstrations.
Why is he so nervous? We're watching Kohberger. I'm changing my thumbnail real quick. He was supposed to have a hearing today. Lena, you okay? BK is an odd duck. He was supposed to have a hearing, and they didn't show it on TV. So I'm kind of checking the news stations while we watch this and getting information. But Stern's trial was reset to July 22nd.
Any such conduct will result in immediate removal and may result in an inability to attend further court proceedings in this case. I want to point out that there have been calls by some for the public to contact me and my office in an attempt to influence my decision-making in this case. This has been extraordinarily disruptive for court staff and the ability for them to get work done, not only in this case, but in other cases where defendants are entitled to have their cases processed and frankly, as important, if not more so, for victims to have their cases processed in those cases. It's also highly inappropriate. A court is not supposed to, and this court will never take into account public sentiment in making an opinion regarding its judicial decisions in cases. Court should, and I always will make decisions based on where the facts and the law lead me.
Hey, Kimmy, that's interesting because it was the victim's parent that asked for them to call and asked the judge to decide a certain way, and he seems very upset about it. He's opening up by going off.
Period. I have not read any of the numerous messages nor listened to any of the numerous voicemails that have been sent to me and my staff. Those have all been forwarded to security and, where appropriate, to law enforcement. I ask that you not continue to mount such campaigns or to send me information like this because, again, it is not appropriate and, frankly, not something I would take into account when deciding a matter in a case like this. I also want people to understand some very basic concepts about the ideas of separation of powers, what the court's duties are, and what the duties and the rights of the executive, or in this case, the prosecuting attorney, is. The executive, the elected prosecutor, is the sole authority in deciding what charges to pursue, including whether, as well as what penalties to ask for, and what penalties to pursue, including the death penalty. This court cannot require the prosecutor to seek the death penalty, nor would it be appropriate for this court to attempt to do that. This court, in considering a plea agreement, if it were to reject this plea agreement, cannot force the state to seek the death penalty. My role and power in considering a plea agreement is extremely limited. My role is to ensure that the defendant's plea is given freely, voluntarily, and intelligently. If those things are met, I can only reject a plea, such as the one in this case, where I'm not being asked to agree to the sentence in advance. If I can only reject it, for example, if the defendant does not meet or admit to all of the elements of the crime. That is, I can ensure what is called a factual basis to the plea. Finally, I want to offer my apologies to all the families, including the victims' families, the families of the defendant, for the short notice for today's hearing, and I'm sure what must have been the hurried efforts to get here. I, like most everyone else, learned of this plea agreement Monday afternoon and had no inkling of it beforehand. Prior to that time, I was under the belief that this case was proceeding to trial, as had been indicated, and my staff and I were busy continuing to work on preparations to have potentially 10,000 citizens of Ada County come to jury duty starting in mid-July, with the questionnaire process in mid-July. It was once I learned of the defendant's decision to change his plea in this case, it was important that I take the plea as soon as possible because of the extraordinary administrative efforts that were otherwise attendant to the process of this getting this trial potentially underway on time, and including the significant process of bringing, again, potentially up to 10,000 jurors to come in and fill out juror questionnaires prior to the beginning of the voir dire process. And so it was important that we, if we're going to go down this road, do so expeditiously so that we can avoid those costs and expenses associated with that. Otherwise, if it was not going to result in a plea, or if for some reason the plea were to fall through today, that we could continue diligently towards trial at the time specified. And so that obviously required that we act.
I'm here. I'm just trying to fix the thumbnail and everything. I guess the man baby loves his digs and is stalling to go to the big house. Yep. It is very frustrating. Like today, like Joy was saying, that has unfortunately lost all of her joy. It is just not a good day for our court system and justice, in my opinion.
Quickly. And so some folks may have not had the amount of time that we would otherwise allow for them to travel here. And so, again, I apologize for that. I want to make people aware that during the hearing, if you are to leave the courtroom for any reason, you will not be readmitted during the hearing. Also, when we finish the hearing this morning, I ask that the public and media wait in their seats until the victims' families and the defendants' families and others are escorted out of the courtroom before you start to leave. Finally, I want to acknowledge the trial court administrator and her staff, the Ada County Sheriff, and Ada County 4th District Marshal Service for the huge lift that they've accomplished in preparing for and orchestrating this hearing today, as well as to all the security attendant today that you see, and some of whom many of whom you don't see, with less than 48 hours notice. And so I appreciate the hard work that they've been doing. Frankly, some of them while they were on some vacation prior to the trial starting and had to call that short. And so I appreciate very much their professionalism and dedication. All right, that said, let's move to the business of today. I understand the state and the defense have reached a plea agreement in this case. For the record, I have a written plea agreement which indicates in sum, the defendant will plead guilty to all 5 counts in the indictment: burglary, felony, and first-degree murder, 4 counts. The state and the defendant stipulate, that is, that the defense is not free to argue for a lesser sentence at sentencing to the following. The defendant on the burglary charge will be sentenced to 10 years fixed, and that the defendant on counts 2 through 5, the 4 counts of first-degree homicide, on each count would receive a fixed life sentence, all 5 of those counts to run consecutive to one another.
Let's talk about consecutive as opposed to, oh, I done forgot the other one. Concurrent. What is okay. Concurrent means occurring at the same time. I can't go to both meetings because they are concurrent. Yay. While consecutive means following one after the other. So he got 4 consecutive life sentences. That means he's going to serve 1 life sentence. And then when he's done with that one, he'll start another life sentence. And then when he's done with that one, he'll serve another life sentence all the way, like for each homicide. Okay. Did they say concurrent? I'm going to back it up. I think he said consecutive. Concurrent If they sentenced him to concurrent, that would mean while he's in jail, each day he's doing a day on all 4 of the life sentences combined. So that would mean basically there would be a possibility of him to get out in 25 years. But since he said consecutive, that means that he would have to do 25 years and then start another 25 years for Xana, then start another 25 years for Ethan, making it 50 years, and then another 25 for Madison, making it 75, and so on. Let me double check that. I'm going to take it. We're at, oh Lordy. I think he said consecutive. Consecutive. Okay. And that's gonna add on another 10 years. So basically 110 years. Like he couldn't even be eligible for parole. Oh, I'm sorry. I was showing y'all the wrong one. They said the 10 years and then the life sentences consecutive. So basically he couldn't even attempt to be released until he did 110 years.
Waives his right to appeal, as well as his right to appeal the sentence and his right to seek leniency or reconsideration of the sentence under Idaho Criminal Rule 35. This is not a Rule 11 agreement, meaning the court is not bound by the plea agreement and could impose a different lawful sentence at sentencing. The stipulated agreement between the parties is the maximum on each count. So theoretically, the only thing the court could do would be a lesser sentence at sentencing. But the defendant is not free to ask the court to do so under the plea agreement. Are there any other material terms of the plea agreement that the parties would like to make? Obviously, the plea agreement, the written plea agreement will speak for itself and be part of the court record.
Not from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
I did speed it up a little bit. Lana says, bring him back to life after he dies so he can serve his sentences. Exactly. I'm going to need y'all to hit him with that defib when he does leave this earth, and we need to keep him alive a little bit longer so he can continue serving those sentences. KB could possibly be sent to the same prison in Idaho where Chad Daybell is at. Oh my God. Could you imagine Brian Kohberger and Chad Daybell getting in there together? Like, they probably wouldn't get along. I wonder if Chad Daybell is going to have a cult following in there.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, very well. All right. Ms. Taylor, have you had sufficient time to discuss this case and all of its ramifications with your client?
I have, Your Honor.
Have you discussed fully with him his rights, defenses, and possible consequences to him of the guilty plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you been able to do all the discovery you feel necessary?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you informed your client of the importance of providing the court truthful and accurate answers in taking this plea today?
I have.
Have you apprised your client of any and all offers and counter offers and answered his questions about those?
Yes.
Do you consent to the entry of the plea today?
I do.
All right, Mr. Kohberger, I need to ask you some questions this afternoon, or I guess it's.
I'm going to put it on normal. I'm going to put it on normal while Brian speaks.
This morning still. I do this to ensure that so that I am assured that you understand the nature of the charges to which I understand you're going to plead guilty, as well as the possible consequences to you of your guilty pleas. I want to make sure your plea is given voluntarily, and I want to make sure that you actually committed the crimes to which you're pleading guilty, because I don't want you to plead guilty to a crime you didn't commit. If you attempt to plead guilty today, but for some reason I don't accept your plea, then it is possible that your statements today could be used against you later at trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. And now, while you're standing, actually, why don't you take the oath from the clerk?
Look how he's standing, like he's poking his belly out. That is the first time I've ever heard Brian Kohberger's voice. He sounds weak, like not like an incel almost. Like, I don't know. All I heard him say was yes so far, but he's not very manly sounding to me.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in the matter not being before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing
Yep.
but the truth, so help you
Barrow?
Yes.
All right. And Mr. Kohberger, just to make it easier, you don't need to stand when you speak to me. I appreciate the sign of respect, but for convenience.
Do y'all hear that? That rain? The geese are free ranging and they come up and they go like they're right here by the door. They'll go up under the porch area and like stay under the porch. But I'll go up in the garden in the morning and I'll get the geese and they walk down with me back down here or up here, whatever way you want to look at it. And then they sit under the porch. They don't go out, like they'll go out a little bit and eat grass and get in their pool, but like they stay right by the door and wait for me to go back out. It's the cutest thing. The judge is like, "What are you doing, dude?" Right.
So you can remain seated, all right? Before I start asking you questions today, have you consumed substantive questions? Let me ask you, have you consumed any alcohol, drug, or other intoxicating substance that would impair your ability to understand or exercise reasonable judgment?
No.
You feel like you are thinking clearly today?
Yes.
All right. I want you to understand what the possible penalties are for each of the crimes to which I understand you're going to offer a guilty plea today. They include on count one, the burglary, a fine of up to $50,000 and a period of incarceration of up to 10 years in the state penitentiary. You may be required to pay restitution to any victims of the crime. Count 2, 3, 4, and 5 for first-degree murder. The consequences include a fine of up to $50,000, a period of incarceration of life imprisonment, which is a requirement of a sentence, that it be a life sentence with a mandatory minimum sentence of at least 10 years on each of those counts. In addition, you would be potentially responsible for a fine of up to $5,000 to each of the victims of your crime to be enforced in the form of a civil judgment to operate as additional punishment. This is in excess of any restitution or fines that the court could order. And again, you may be required to pay restitution to the victims of the crime. You would be required to provide, as to counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression, and potentially pay for analysis of those samples. You would lose any right to possess, purchase, or carry a firearm, the right to serve on jury duty, the right to hold public office, and the right to vote. Do you understand the charges and all those possible consequences?
Yes.
You've heard the plea agreement that I talked about today. Do you agree with that plea agreement?
Yes.
And do you understand the nature of the charges that you've been charged with that I understand you're going to plead guilty today to?
Yes.
As I indicated, I'm not bound by the plea agreement, but the plea agreement is for the maximum on each count. Do you understand that I'm not bound by the plea agreement?
Yes.
Has anyone promised you that I would be lenient or easy on you if you pled guilty?
No.
Has anyone threatened you or anyone close to you to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Has anyone other than the state's agreements with respect to the plea agreement, has anyone promised you anything in exchange for your plea agreement?
No.
Real quick, Tom said psychologists will be having a field day studying Brian Kohberger for years and years. And we were talking yesterday, and that theory was brought up. Do we think that Brian Kohberger is taking these plea deals so that he can be studied for years and years? Because for the notoriety of it, for basically him saying, yeah, I'm the one who did it. You know, I'm this criminal mastermind, study me for years to come. I found that interesting. I think that's a very interesting theory, and I found it interesting that you said that after that.
Has anyone told you to be untruthful in answering my questions today?
No.
Has anyone offered you a reward of any kind other than the plea agreement in order to get you to plead guilty today?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
And counsel, obviously there have been a number of motions filed to suppress evidence in this case. Other than those filed, are there any other motions that you felt were available with respect to Rule 12?
No, Your Honor.
Hey, Pandora, good to see you. And Dandy Lioness, I like your name. Ramslin already said she'd study him. There you go. I mean, oh my gosh. And he's going to love it. He's going to eat every bit of it up.
And Mr. Kohberger, you understand that by entering the guilty plea in this case, you would be giving up your right to appeal any decision this court made, as well as your sentence.
Yes.
Right.
Have you had enough time to decide whether or not to plead guilty?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Given your choices, do you believe it's in your best interest to plead guilty?
Yes.
Have you discussed fully the matter of pleading guilty with your attorney, and are you satisfied with the advice you've received?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you to your satisfaction about what your rights are, what your defenses may be, and what the possible consequences to you of your guilty plea are?
Yes.
Has your attorney done everything you've asked them to do?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with their representation of you?
Yes.
I have received a written guilty plea advisory questionnaire that is purported to be filled out by you. Did you fill that document out?
Yes.
Did you understand the questions that you answered in this document?
Yes.
And are the answers that are outlined in this document your answers?
Yes.
Are those answers truthful?
Yes.
It's interesting, Lena, that you say that he was experimenting, testing himself to see if he could feel anything. That's a possible explanation too. I wonder if he was doing that to see if he felt anything, because he does seem like the type to do something like that just to see if he could feel something. Even his yes is chilling. I mean, to think that he took out 4 people in a matter of minutes, it's kind of scary.
Did you sign the document?
Yes.
And this document outlines many of the rights that you have in this case. Should you not plead guilty, did you understand those rights?
Yes.
They include a right to a jury trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to the presumption of innocence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to require the state to prove your guilt as to each element beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to confront your accusers and cross-examine witnesses presented by the state, including by utilizing the subpoena power of the court to accomplish that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand you would have a privilege against self-incrimination and a right to remain silent, meaning you would not be compelled to testify if you did not wish to, had you not pled guilty.
Yes.
You understand you're giving up that privilege and those rights that I've just outlined by pleading guilty.
Yes.
I don't know if y'all heard that, but right when they said that, the thunder just like cracked really loud. Vera, we haven't found out what made him definitively guilty yet, like what made him feel that way or think that he wasn't going to be able to fight this trial. Somebody said in the comment section, you know, the DoorDash driver, in my opinion, allegedly wasn't very credible. Bless her little heart. She's been through so much. And somebody said, what if she has a dash cam? Or like, you know, it's recording somehow, like the DoorDash deliveries or whatever, and she's actually got a recording of him being there. And I thought that was a pretty interesting theory, because that would make the that would make her testimony like basically seal the deal.
All right, I want you to understand what the state would have had to have proven
Me too.
at trial had you to the crimes that you're pleading guilty to, had you if you didn't plead guilty. Let me find the document. Hang on a second here. All right.
Maybe.
So as to count one burglary, the state would have to have proven that on or about November 13, 2022 in Latah County, Idaho, you unlawfully entered a residence located at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder. As to count two, the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogen, from which she died. As to count three, the state would have had to have proven that on that same date in Latah County, at that same address, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Kaylee Gonzalez, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. As to count four, the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. And then as to count five, also murder in the first degree, that on or about November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing him, from which he died. Do you understand those things the state would have had to have proven?
Yes.
I don't think his family is in court today. I think it was too short of notice for him to drive all the way across the country. Ramsland interview is on News Nation. Oh, yeah, you're fine. I saw that that girl dropped one that we were going to talk about after this. Hey, Carolina, good to see you.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, the state no longer has to prove those things because you're admitting those things are true?
Yes.
I want to also make for the record, the defendant has provided with the guilty plea advisory form a document entitled Written Factual Basis that purports to have the defendant's signature dated 1 July 2025. Did you sign that document?
Yes.
And did you agree with the written factual basis that is included there?
Yes.
And then let me ask you, did you, on November 13th, 2022, enter the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder?
Yes.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
Did you, on or about that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Kaylee Gonzalez, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
And did you, on that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
That is chilling. I hope you have a good day, Sadie. I know, Hannah. It's so sad. It's hard to hear this. It is.
And then on or about November 13th, 2022, again in Latah County, Idaho, did you kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being?
Yes.
Did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
I would ask the state at this time to provide its recitation of its factual basis had this case gone to trial.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the organization of the recitation is different than what I think the court and the public may be familiar with from the probable cause affidavit and other documents. The state's evidence as an overview would show that back in March of 2022, when the defendant was residing in his parents' residence or residing back in Pennsylvania, his home state, he purchased online a K-bar knife and sheath with an Amazon gift card that he had purchased shortly prior to the purchase of the knife, sheath, and sharpener. Jumping ahead, the end of June of that year, the defendant, Mr. Kohberger, moved from Pennsylvania to Pullman, Washington, which is right across the state line from Moscow, Idaho, for the purpose of pursuing a PhD in criminal justice at Washington State University. The state's evidence would indicate that beginning July 9th of 2022, Mr. Kohberger's phone began connecting to a cell tower that serves the area of the 1122 King Road residence in Moscow, Idaho. Now, I will acknowledge for the court and all present that there are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants. Between July 9th of 2022 and November 7th, the defendant's phone connected to that particular tower during late night, early morning hours, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., on approximately 23 times. Now, I will acknowledge also, we do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area on those times.
23 times. Hio said, this is unfair. He isn't required to supply the motive. Do you think he will do interviews, write books, and profit from this? And there's something I wanted to talk to y'all about real quick. Hold on a minute. Oh my goodness. I thought there was a thing. Yeah, okay. So he cannot profit from writing books behind bars. And yeah, convicted murderers cannot profit from writing books behind bars due to laws known as Son of Sam laws, which prevent them from benefiting financially from their notoriety. These laws have been enacted to ensure that victims receive the profits from stories about their crimes. And I remembered hearing something about the Son of Sam laws saying they couldn't profit. So if he does write a book about it from behind bars, he can't take any of the profits from it. And I'm glad that you had asked me that because I wanted to make sure I went over that live. Idaho does not have a specific Son of Sam law, but it does have provisions in place to address criminals profiting from their crimes. So just some code. I would think that it would go like nationwide, but I don't know. So let's see. Son of Sam laws are nationwide. Son of Sam laws are nationwide, with 45 states having their own in addition to federal statutes. These laws were created in response to David Berkowitz, aka the Son of Sam, and his killing spree from 1976 to 1977. Since 1977, 42 states and the federal government have enacted various types of Son of Sam laws that take any proceeds a criminal earns from selling the story of his crime and give them to the victims of the crime or to a victim's compensation fund. So let's try specifically Idaho. 45 states, including Idaho. Son of Sam laws exist in 45 states, including Idaho, and were created in response to David Berkowitz, the Son of Sam. These laws aim to prevent criminals from profiting off the publicity surrounding their crimes, such as earnings from book deals or movie rights. Idaho is specifically strict about this statute. And this just goes to a question about it from Reddit. But evidently, Idaho is specifically strict about that statute. So I don't think Brian Kohberger will be profiting off of anything he writes. But for him, it would be more about the notoriety anyway. If I had to guess. Right. Yep, exactly. He'd take the limelight, though. Yep. Wade Wilson is trying to profit from his crimes. The court issued a son of Sam thing to him, and anything that he has made money on got sent to the victims, from what I understand. That's good to know. I hate that he's trying to profit off of him. Yeah, Son of Sam said a dog spoke to him, and the dog was Satan. But I got really into the Son of Sam crimes as well. And I watched this new documentary on it that said that it showed basically how there's like a strong possibility that it was several people, specifically talking about one crime where he shot a lady that was walking on the sidewalk, and there was a witness that saw him like 8 blocks away 2 minutes earlier. It was not humanly possible for him to get across to where that person got shot in that amount of time. So that document that I saw poses a theory that basically there was a Son of Sam cult, and then there's a whole CIA aspect to it, and the MK Ultra and stuff. I told y'all I get into some crazy stuff sometimes, but I find that interesting. To know that there's like a whole possible cult aspect, and there could have been several Son of Sam killers. All I need is Jesus. Said July 22nd is my birthday. Way to ruin it, Sterns. Well, it would have been the judge, but I'm so sorry to hear that, sweetheart. Um, all I need is Jesus said 4 months. Whoop whoop. That is awesome. Thank you for being a member for 4 months and supporting for 4 months. I really appreciate that. Thank you so very much for that. And thank you for sharing that milestone with us. That was so very sweet of you. You are amazing. Thank you so much for that. Manson was incarcerated prior to Son of Sam law. Was he? I don't know how much he profited off of that, but he's another one I got really into. BK will probably have weirdos from around the world trying to connect with him, put money on his canteen account and or phone calls if they can. Probably. Probably.
In the interim, on August 22nd of 2022, Lake Tahoe County Sheriff's Deputy Darren Duke conducted a traffic stop in the early morning hour or late evening hours, about 11 p.m. On the west side of Moscow, on Moscow Pullman Road. This was a traffic stop of Mr. Kohberger's car, which turned out to be a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plates. During the course of the traffic stop, Deputy Duke was able to obtain Mr. Kohberger's name, Brian Kohberger, his phone number, and his address, which at that point was an apartment address in Pullman. We then move to the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. The state's evidence would show that early morning hours on that day, Mr. Kohberger's phone left his Pullman residence, which is an apartment in kind of the central northwest part of Pullman. That phone was then subsequently turned off at approximately 2:54 a.m. and remained off until approximately 4:48 a.m. on Sunday, the 13th of November.
So 2:58 to 4:48. What is that? An hour and 48 minutes, just about, a little under. Lena, so he might have profited by people putting money on his account and things. It's specifically if he writes a book or something like that, or does a movie deal. He can't profit from that. I don't think there's any laws about like people put money on his books and things like that, unfortunately. Hello to those of you who just dropped in. Kathy, or Courtney, I apologize. Courtney said, I don't see him having any problems with his commissary. I do see the sickos of America keeping his commissary funds full, so I'm not sure that he would want money for it if he could profit from the crimes. Right, and I think it's notoriety. Is today your birthday? Could be for his family, but Brian doesn't strike me as someone that has a really big heart. Absolutely. Any money should be sent to the victims. Oh, Manson did profit? Probably. You got to watch some of his interviews. They're very interesting.
The state's evidence would include a trial
Hey,
on
Brittany.
video surveillance of a business on the Moscow Pullman Highway, just across the state line from Moscow. It would show a vehicle matching the description of the defendant's Hyundai Elantra entering Moscow at approximately 3:02 a.m. Compiled surveillance that the investigators put together from businesses and residents then show the defendant's car, the white Elantra, as I've described, circling the 1122 King Road area, that neighborhood, starting around 3:30 or so in the morning. Comes into the immediate area of 1122 King Road, which is actually on a dead end, and then leaves several times. At approximately 4:05 that morning, the defense car had entered that area, was leaving, stopped at the intersection of King and Queen Road, did a U-turn, and the state's evidence would show that the defendant's car came back and parked behind and above the 1122 King Road residence.
Wolfie, thank you for that. I think it is the audio from the court feed. And it sounded like they might have fixed it, but unfortunately I can't fix that. I wish I could, but I did notice that, and I do believe it's the court feed. Thank you so much. This judge right here, every time I've seen him, it's always been like that, with his hand up like that, leaning on his hand, like in that look of judgment.
The state believes that its evidence would then show that the defendant
Oh, you're
entered
okay.
the residence of 1122 through the kitchen sliding door on the back side of the residence, which is the side of the residence that would face the area above where the defendant's car was parked. Defendant entered the residence, went to the 3rd floor, and with a knife, killed Madison Mogan and Caitlin Gonzalez.
Mm.
The defendant, as he left that room, for whatever reason, ended up leaving, or the sheath for a K-bar knife was left on the bed next to Madison Mogan's body. And I can jump ahead. That sheath was tested by the Idaho State Police Forensic Lab, and single source male DNA was found on the snap of that sheath, as well as blood from both Kaylee and Madison and other trace evidence. But it's important to note single source male DNA was on the snap of that sheath. The state's evidence would show that Xana Knodel was still awake at this time. In fact, had taken a DoorDash order not long before this started. Her room was not on the 3rd floor. It was on the 2nd floor on the west side. As the defendant was either coming down the stairs or leaving, he encountered Xana, and he ended up killing her, also with a large knife. Ethan Chapin, Xana's boyfriend, was asleep in their bedroom, in her bedroom, and the defendant killed him as well with a large fixed blade knife. Each victim suffered multiple wounds. I will state for the record that there is no evidence there was any sexual component or sexual assault on any of the victims. I want to make that clear so there's no speculation. There were 2 other roommates in the house, and they were already asleep. During the course of this, one of those roommates awoke, looked out her door not knowing what was going on, and saw the defendant, who was dressed in black with a black balaclava on, holding some sort of container in his hand. And she saw him leave the house through the direction of the kitchen where that sliding door is that I mentioned before. At approximately 4:20 that morning, so this would have been 15 minutes or so later, the defendant's car is seen on a surveillance camera for 1112 King Road, which is immediately next door to the west of 1122, leaving the area at a high rate of speed. And if the court were to see that, or anybody in this courtroom would see that, you can see the car almost loses control as it makes the corner, heads north, and then turns to go south on Walinta, which is one of the only ways to get out of that part of town. The evidence would show that following that, the defendant in his Elantra drove south of Moscow. We know that he drove on the back roads because there are surveillance cameras on the main highways, Highway 95, that would have picked up the defendant's car if he'd gone that route. And they did not show the defendant's car on that route during the time. So we know that he went through a variety of back roads in very rural, isolated part of Latah County. About 4:48 that morning, the defendant's phone comes back on. And the evidence will show that that phone was located south of Moscow, likely at a side road intersection with Highway 95. From there, the defendant's phone activity tracks it heading back north towards Pullman, Washington, where the defendant lived. About 5:26, starting approximately 5:26, various surveillance cameras in Pullman, Washington pick up the defendant's vehicle as he enters Pullman from the south and heads north and slightly west towards his apartment, where he arrived at approximately 5:30 in the morning. Later that morning, Sunday, the 13th of November of 2022, Mr. Kohberger's phone returned to the area of King Road. We don't know exactly what he did, but it returned to that area. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. He was there for about 10 minutes and then returned to his Pullman residence. About 9:30, the state's evidence will show, evidence taken from the defendant's phone, that he took a selfie of himself on his phone in what appears to be the bathroom of his Pullman apartment with a thumbs up. The defendant's phone then went to the Lewiston-Clarkston Valley, approximately.
I apologize. I was trying to get that request sent in for Stern stuff. So did we just hear, hey, Mama Ange, we do know, hold on, I'll get right back to you on that. Did we just hear that the infamous selfie with the thumbs up in the mirror of the apartment was taken right after he committed the homicides? Like, is that what I got from that, or am I wrong on that? Hey, Holly. So Diddy basically got found guilty of prostitution charges, and that was about it. His target was Maddie, unfortunately. You watched that live? Mm. So let's pull up that selfie real quick. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Try to type too fast. Selfie. So this was taken right after he committed the homicides, evidently. That's pretty damning. If the judge accepts this, he deserves jail. You think so? Maddie was the one that worked at the vegan restaurant that he was banned from, I do believe. Yeah. Yep. Wow. So this picture right here is right after he had killed them, and he's given a thumbs up. Fresh out the shower with a white silk shirt on. I mean, damn. Got the white silk shirt and everything. That is chilling to know that that photo right there was taken right after he killed those 4 students. Hey, Mike. So did he? No, he didn't. Evidently, no, he didn't. I think it was in the apartment of, it was in the bathroom of the apartment. I don't think it was at the house, on at 111. I don't think it was, at King Road. I think it was at an apartment. And now I just lost it. It said that I had lost the page and that I needed to refresh. So let me see if I can pull it back up this way. Where did it go? Yeah, right here.
You're counting into me.
Okay, hold on. Let's see what they're
The
saying.
burglary charge will be sentenced to 10 years fixed.
We got that.
And that on or about that same day.
Her room was not on the 3rd floor. It was on the 2nd floor on the west side. As the defendant was either coming down the stairs or leaving,
we'll keep
he
it here.
encountered Xana, and he ended up killing her.
Good
also
evening.
with a large knife.
He does.
Ethan Chapin, Xana's boyfriend, was asleep in their bedroom, in her bedroom, and the defendant killed him as well.
We don't
with a
know,
large
Mike.
six-blade knife. Each victim suffered multiple wounds. I will state for the record that there is no evidence there was any sexual component or sexual assault on any of the victims. I want to make that clear so there's no speculation. There were 2 other roommates in the house, and they were already asleep. During the course of this, one of those roommates awoke, looked out her door, not knowing what was going on, and saw the defendant, who was dressed in black with a black balaclava on, holding some sort of container in his hand. And she saw him leave the house through the direction of the kitchen to where that sliding door is that I mentioned before. At approximately 4:20 that morning, so this would have been 15 minutes or so later, the defendant's car is seen on a surveillance camera for 1112 King Road, which is immediately next door to the west of 1122, leaving the area at a high rate of speed. And if the court were to see that, or anybody in this courtroom would see that, you can see the car almost loses control as it makes the corner, heads north, and then turns to go south on Walenta, which is one of the only ways to get out of that part of town.
I mean, that was a giveaway, speeding away that fast on the night that 4 people just, end up deceased in a horrific way. Lena said those 2 roommates could not have slept through that. We will never know why they didn't call 911. There's a lot we're never going to know. Hey, Abraham. We talked about it briefly. Okay, thank you. Trauma responses are different for everybody. So it's hard to, know regardless, really.
The evidence would show that following that, the defendant in his Elantra drove south of Moscow. We know that he drove on the back roads because there are surveillance cameras on the main highways, Highway 95, that would have picked up the defendant's car if he'd gone that route. And they did not show the defendant's car on that route during the time. So we know that he went through a variety of back roads in very rural, isolated part of Latah County. About 4:48 that morning, the defendant's phone comes back on. And the evidence will show that that phone was located south of Moscow, likely at a side road intersection with Highway 95. From there, the defendant's phone activity tracks heading back north towards Pullman, Washington, where the defendant lived. About 5:26, starting approximately 5:26, various surveillance cameras in Pullman, Washington pick up the defendant's vehicle as he enters Pullman from the south and heads north and slightly west towards his apartment, where he arrived at approximately 5:30 in the morning.
Nope, he's not.
Later that morning, this Sunday, the 13th of November of 2022, Mr. Kohberger's phone returned to the area of King Road. We don't know exactly what he did, but it returned to that area. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning.
I wonder if he went to look for the knife sheath, and see if anybody was there yet. Tell Grandma that we said happy birthday. Hio, sorry. That girl said, I can't imagine the fear these 4 felt having a stranger waking them up out of a dead sleep and brutally attacking them. I couldn't either. He could have got his ass whooped if there were more guys there. He must have been confident in what he was going to do. I think so too. Happy birthday to Granny, Hio.
There for about 10 minutes and then returned to his Pullman residence. About 9:30, the state's evidence will show, evidence taken from the defendant's phone, that he took a selfie of himself on his phone in what appears to be the bathroom of his Pullman apartment with a thumbs up. The defendant's phone then went to the Lewiston-Clarkston Valley, approximately 30 miles south of Moscow and Pullman. And the defendant is actually seen with his car at various businesses down there. This area is the confluence of the Clearwater River and the Snake River. Lewiston is Idaho's seaport. Large bodies of moving water down there. In addition to tracing the defendant's activities, as I've just outlined, on the 13th and leading up to the 13th, the state's evidence will show that following Sunday, November 13th, 2022, business records show that the defendant began searching for a K-bar knife and a K-bar knife sheath, as the state believes replaced the one that was left at the scene of the murders. The evidence also will suggest that there were at least attempts by the defendant to delete or alter his purchase history on Amazon, where all these transactions had occurred. Later that week, the state's evidence would show that Mr. Kohberger went to what we would call DMV, motor vehicle licensing here in Idaho, in Pullman, to change his car registration from Pennsylvania to Washington.
Now that's interesting. He changed. Oh, okay. Okay. So he's going to do that because he's concerned that somebody might have seen him or the car or the camera seeing him on the road. So he's going to change his license plate. I mean, there's a lot to state that, a lot of circumstantial evidence that's very questionable. I honestly don't think Brian Kohberger was ever on any law enforcement radar. I really don't. I really don't. Thumbs up. His parents have been completely silent. Yeah, for the most part, as far as I know. You are a genius, Abellis and Keo. Is he going to be required to tell us why he committed these horrors? I don't think he was. Thank you. I appreciate that, Dandy. Another lady came face to face with him and he had the mask on. Police investigated him, but nothing happened. Thank you for that, Real McCoy. I appreciate that. And it's good to see you. Yep, studying criminal law, calculated. He is not required. It's pretty crazy they haven't had the press camped outside their house. It is, considering like Brian Laundrie and other cases like that. Yeah.
That's of note because Pennsylvania cars do not require a front license plate. The vehicles seen on the surveillance cameras of the defendant's car showed it didn't have a front license plate on it. At the time of the traffic stop by Deputy Duke in August, it was Pennsylvania plate, no front license plate. Mr. Kohberger proceeded to finish his semester of studies at Washington State University and returned to Pennsylvania for the holidays.
It went from 86 thumbs up to 68. I reckon what is that? Like 20 people or like, yeah, I did hit the thumbs up, but now I changed my mind. So I'm taking it back and they took it back. Just remember to hit the thumbs down, the 20 people who took it back on your way out, because any interaction is good interaction per YouTube. Hey, Bizarro, good to see you. Hey, Jenny Jen. I hope they release the questionnaire to the public too. Madeline said BK parents never obstructed justice like laundries. Let's remember they are innocent and losing a son too. I know it's not the most popular opinion. You are absolutely right. 93. Okay, maybe they came back and said, I changed my mind again. It is. It is infuriating that he's not going to have to tell why he did it.
Law enforcement at this point were aware of Mr. Kohberger, had been accessing information about him, were trying to find him. They located
Okay, thank you
him
guys.
in
Hey,
Pennsylvania,
Smokey.
and they conducted what's called a trash pull during the nighttime hours. Agents of the FBI, who assisted immensely with this case, working with the sanitation department back in this neighborhood in Pennsylvania, took trash that had been set out on the street for collection, sent the contents of that from the Pennsylvania residence of the defendant's parents to the Idaho State Forensic Laboratory, where the lab experts there were able to identify DNA on a Q-tip as coming from the father of the person whose DNA was found on the knife sheath that was next to Madison Logan's body in the bed. Subsequently, an arrest warrant was issued here in Idaho, and a search warrant was issued in the state of Pennsylvania with the assistance not only of the FBI, but the Pennsylvania State Police. Mr. Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home to return to Idaho. Upon his return to Idaho, a DNA sample was taken from him, and it matched the DNA found on the knife sheath next to Maddie's body at the crime scene. I can tell the court, in public, the weapon itself, the knife, has not yet been recovered. I can tell the court that the defendant's apartment in Pullman was searched, as well as his office. Spartan would be a kind characterization. There was virtually nothing there. Nothing of evidentiary value was found. And of course, we are now talking 6-8 weeks after the time of the killings. In Pennsylvania, the defendant's car was seized and it was actually pretty much disassembled internally. And it also had been cleaned. There was a bucket of cleaner right beside it. I think we can all look to our own cars, you know, in those compartments in the doors. You can try to keep them clean where you put stuff. There's always some degree of crud in there. They were spotless. The defendant's car had been meticulously cleaned inside.
There's no way though that he could have cleaned it that good to get every last inch of and speck of DNA out. And like, what did he use? Because we all know, like, even if you were to use bleach after committing a crime, they can still trace back DNA from that. So, I mean, you mean to tell me there was nothing in that car at all because he cleaned it that meticulously, and you had nothing that would show marks of DNA or anything like that in this day and age, even if he had cleaned it? He must have watched Dexter. You know, I question that too sometimes with some of these people.
The state would present to the jury that that was part of the defendant's plan in covering up this. The defendant has studied crime. In fact, he did a detailed paper on crime scene processing when he was working on his pre-doctorate degrees, and he had that knowledge and skill.
Okay.
So, Your Honor, at the end, the state submits that the evidence that I've given just a quick overview of, and that to present in court would consume weeks, which the state is prepared to do and has been prepared to do, would
Hey, a name here. Good to see you, sweetheart.
show that as the defendant has just admitted and pleaded guilty on November 13th, 2022.
Bye, Joy.
Excuse me. Mr. Kohberger entered the residence of 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. He did that with the intent to kill. We will not represent that he intended to commit all of the murders that he did that night, but we know that that is what resulted, and that he then killed intentionally, willfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice forethought, Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, and Santa Cruz. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. You can hear the emotion in his voice as he said that. I mean, every time he read their names, I heard him about to cry. Sounded like he was tearing up. Bad Girl, I hadn't heard that, but that's really interesting. I can look into it and see what I can find on it. I mean, maybe. He's stupid. He thought he could wipe away evidence with cleaning products from the store. Well, evidently he did if they didn't find anything in his car. Why is the lawyer crying? Well, the DA, I'm assuming, was crying. Yeah. I could be wrong. It might not be
Based
the
on
DA.
the state's proffer and importantly, based upon defendant's explicit admission to committing these crimes, the court finds there is a factual basis. Therefore, with respect to count 1, burglary, felony, how do you plead, Mr. Kohberger, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 2, murder in the first degree, as it relates to the murder of Madison Mogan, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 3, as it relates to murder in the first degree for the murder of Kaylee Gonzalez, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 4, the first degree murder of Xana Kernodle, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 5, the first degree murder of Ethan Chapin, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Right. The court will find that the defendant understands the nature of the charges and each offense and the possible consequences to him of his guilty plea. The court finds that there is a factual basis for the plea and that finds the defendant believes the plea to be in his best interest. I find that the plea was given freely, voluntarily, and was intelligently made. I accept the plea. I direct that it be entered. I'll continue the matter for sentencing in this case. I think it was mentioned on the call Monday afternoon, the defense wishes to waive a pretrial investigation. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
The state also?
Yes, Your Honor, the state does not believe pre-sentence investigation is needed, given the evidence that is available. We want to, though, make sure that all of the victims have the opportunity to make statements to the court at sentencing.
Absolutely. And certainly both the state and the defense may present whatever sentencing memorandum and other documents you wish me to consider. The victims will be given an opportunity to provide the statements that they wish to at sentencing. Do we need more than one full day for sentencing?
I do not believe so, Your Honor. Obviously, we have numerous victims, and we have victims who share unique perspectives on this, and we want to make sure that they all have time to express their feelings to the court. But I believe that if we can start perhaps 8:30 or so in the morning, that we should be able to complete it all in one day.
Defense agree with that in terms of the time frame?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does it show on
All right. So as it happens, we have some time reserved in this case in July and August. The week of July 22nd is available. I don't know if that's too soon for the parties or the next week, the week of August 4 is available. Any preference?
Your Honor, we're prepared as soon as the court wants to schedule it.
The state, I believe, would be prepared on the 22nd. We've told the victims' families that we're looking at approximately those dates.
All right. So because of the plan to bring in so many jurors to fill out questionnaires, I had ordered that no other trials could take place in this courthouse the week of July 22nd. And so we will use that in terms of the sentencing date because of what I'm sure will be the significant interest of the media and the public and the logistics that will be required to make that happen. Without trials going, it'll be a lot easier to do that. So let's pick that week. Why don't we pick July 23rd with the idea that if for some reason we don't finish, we could continue into the 24th. We'll start at 9 in the morning. Does that give your team enough time, Sandra? 9 in the morning? All right. Any concerns with that date?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, sir.
All right. Any reason why I should not rescind the non-dissemination order at this time?
You're right. I think that given the history of this case, it would be best if that remained in place through sentencing. So we have time to make sure there's the ability to completely answer questions. That would be the state's preference and recommendation.
We'd have no objection for the order to remain in place through sentencing.
All right. I will, at this point, the idea to keep it until sentencing, which time it would be withdrawn in order to give the parties the space and time to prepare to meet what I'm sure will be the deluge of media requests. That's at least my preliminary decision at this point. We can always revisit if it seems to be, for some reason, I should. That said, obviously, I don't think the defendant, a bond was ever set for the defendant.
So it said his sentencing is for July 23rd. Sometimes the real McCoy, YouTube will like block certain words you say. So that could have been what was going on. Yeah, well, this is the first I've ever heard of this. A dog named Buddy was found dead and skinned before the murders. That's interesting. I've never heard that before. Are we throwing stuff at Brian? Is that what we're doing? Because y'all know that we're allowed to throw all the things at all the criminals. Are we throwing things at them? Is that what is going on?
Were it would be revoked. The prior order allowing him to come in civilian clothes is revoked, given his plea and no longer the presumption of innocence. And in fact, now the actual conviction for the crimes. He will continue to be held at the jail pending sentencing. Is there anything else today?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
I assume that the trial date will be vacated
trial
and those
is-
4 jurors will be released.
The trial will be vacated, and I'm sure that the jury commissioner will get word to those that receive their summons that they won't be required to attend. So
Thank you.
that said, again, if you would all please wait for the parties and the victims' families and others to leave the courtroom before you do, I would appreciate it. And with that, we're adjourned. All right, please.
All right, so that was the Brian Kohberger thing. Before we go to Diddy, I see that y'all are throwing baseballs and basketballs at Bryan. We got some hatchets, tomatoes, potatoes, pineapples, some logs, the whole entire moon. Jennifer said, I wonder if doing this was always his plan. When he started college, did he have this in mind or did his mind break somewhere along the way? I think that he was always going to do something like this, honestly, considering specifically the route, like his criminal law degree and what he was studying. I think he was studying that so in his mind, he could try to commit the perfect crime and get away with it. Okay, why is it making me do it like this? Hold on. Hold on just a minute. I'm trying to open something for y'all to see. Wow, okay. I guess I'll have to go through email to do it because now it's one to act stupid. Hold on. All right. So on Discord, I was sent this statement from the Mogan family. And it reads, our family continues to ache for Maddie, and we have spent well over 2 years grieving and focusing on healing from the trauma of losing her. The plea deal the prosecution has proposed is one that punishes the perpetrator of this horrendous crime, protects the public from further harm, and allows all of us who knew and loved these 4 young people the time to grieve without the anxiety of the long and gruesome trial, years of appeals, and potential for mistrials along the way. We thank Bill Thompson and his team for their dedication and painstaking work that forced the perpetrator to admit his guilt. May we all protect our peace in whatever way possible, unite in community, and focus on joy. Please do an act of kindness in Maddie's honor this week so a glimmer of Maddie's light may live on. And that was from Maddie's father, Ben Mogan, and family. She was so pretty. It's really sad. Thank you. His idols were serial killers, go figure, yeah. He does believe he's a genius. Thank you for sharing that with me. All right, let's see if we can find anything new from the parents speaking after the trial. Hold on, I'm going to check the news real quick to see if they released anything on Sterns yet. Nope. Hold on just a minute. I see all they have is that from 7 hours ago. Wesh said they would have it. I'm not seeing anything. I mean, the oldest one was 5 hours ago. So, yeah, I'm not seeing anything yet. Okay. I don't know what happened with that. All right. Idaho murder back. Okay. So we got something here. No, that's not what I was trying to do. Why does it do that? Stop it. Stop it right now. Okay. Let's see what they're saying.
The man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students back in 2022 will plead guilty to the murders. Brian
Okay,
Kohberger is
thank you.
expected in court tomorrow to finalize the agreement, which will spare him the
Hey,
death
Esty.
penalty. Let's bring in CBS News' Anna Schechter. She's a senior coordinating producer of the Crime and Public Safety Unit here at CBS News. Anna, good to see you. So remind us again the details of this case and what transpired to lead to this guilty plea.
Well, 3 years ago, these 4 college students were murdered, stabbed to death in their home off campus. They were all students at the University of Idaho. And investigators found surveillance footage of a car that looked just like Kohberger's car circling around, driving by, cell phone pings. They also found a knife sheath with his DNA on it that they said matched an Amazon.com purchase of his, a knife with a sheath. So investigators and prosecutors have pulled all of this evidence together, and a trial was actually set for August. So this news that broke late last evening really has shocked folks in the community, the victims' families as well. You know, we'll talk about that in a moment, but really surprising turn of events in this case.
Yeah, so you mentioned the families are responding, and a lot of them seem to be very unhappy with what has been decided by the prosecution. What can you?
I was muted. I apologize. So we do have some more statements from the family that we're going to look at after this. But I mean, when we found out that Brian took a plea deal, the whole internet was on fire. Probably, if I had to guess, he probably did watch Dexter and admire him, which is creepy. He was jealous. He wasn't like them beautiful inside and out. I agree. What exactly made Brian Kohberger decide to go for a plea deal? We don't know. Oh, you're wondering as we are? Yeah, me too. Hey, Michelle. Good to see you.
That's right. Well, Kaylee Gonzalez's family put out a statement saying they failed us. So talking about the prosecutors, they're so disappointed that this outcome actually doesn't seek the justice that they felt they were promised. So her family, they were looking forward to having a trial, and they were also in favor of the death penalty being on the table. But the families are Smith, our own Jonathan Vigliotti, spoke to the father of Maddie Mogen. I think we have a soundbite from him. He felt relief upon getting this news.
I think it's justice when you don't have to torture families that have been already through the most horrific thing they could ever imagine. And I don't want another day of this. And they're talking about decades.
He doesn't want another day. I think I appreciate the sentiment. And man, Benjamin Mogen looks terrible. Like I can't imagine the pain of losing a child. So is he unique and alone in feeling this way, or are the others sort of subscribing to that?
You know, we haven't heard directly from the other families, but in cases like this, you often have victims' families disagree on what justice looks like. Every person is processing this in their own way. So this is pretty typical where you see people having differing views about what justice looks like, Vlad.
Right. All right. Anna Schechter for us. Thank you, Anna. Appreciate it.
One sentence.
Oh my gosh.
The man accused.
Don't do it. Okay. I was looking for where the full interview was, but I don't see anything that's like the full interview from Ben Mogen. We're going to go over here to playlist, and we're going to go to Kohberger. We're going to pause that. We're going to watch the full statement of Madison Mogen's family here. I do too. We were discussing that earlier, and we're going to talk about it briefly again before we go. I hope that they have protection too, because Diddy's going to be gunning for them. You are? Well, be careful. I know. I feel bad for him, Sandy, his poor heart. They are in danger now.
Good afternoon. I'm Leander James from the law firm of James, Vernon and Weeks. in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I'm a victims' rights attorney. For the past 2 years, I've had the privilege and the honor to provide pro bono representation in this criminal case for Karen Laramie and Scott Laramie, the loving mother and stepfather of Maddie Mogen. I will be reading a statement of gratitude today from the Laramies. 962 days ago, we lost our Maddie, our kind, loving, vivacious, and caring daughter full of purpose and promise. We are grateful for the gift of her life, and we have grieved the loss of that life during each of these 962 days. We love you, Maddie, and we miss you. We are grateful for the gift of the young, vivacious, promising lives of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, and we deeply, deeply mourn their senseless loss. We remain in solidarity with their families and friends, and we continue to shower them with our prayers and support. We are grateful for their prayers, love, and support that they have given us. They have helped us and sustained us during our darkest times. We are grateful to the prosecutor, Bill Thompson, and his dedicated and caring team, including victim coordinators, Kim and Stacy, who have helped to guide us through the sometimes confusing and disorienting legal process.
Hey Becky, I know it's sad. It's really sad to hear their thoughts and everything after this plea deal.
Thank you for all your dedicated, diligent, and tireless commitment to justice and the successful outcome reached today. We support the plea agreement 100%. While we know there are some who do not support it, we ask that they respect our belief that this is the best outcome possible for the victims, their families, and the state of Idaho. We extend our deep gratitude to the many law enforcement officers and staff who worked tirelessly to obtain the critical evidence that brought justice today, including the Moscow Police Department, the FBI, the Idaho State Patrol, and the Lake County Sheriff's Department. We are deeply grateful to Judge Hippler and Judge John Judge before him. We thank you for your diligence, thoughtfulness, and judicial guidance. We appreciate the difficult work you have done to balance the rights of all involved and to uphold the rule of law. You have had our prayers and support throughout this case. We send our love and gratitude to the many family and friends who have supported us, cared for us, and helped us to heal our open emotional wounds. To the good people of North Idaho, who have showered us with kindness and support, we thank you. We also mourn today with you the recent tragic and senseless loss of two brave North Idaho firefighters. We extend our prayers and support to their families. You are not alone. We understand your pain. For all parents who have endured the loss of a child, we know recovery is a long and at times an almost unbearable journey. But you are not alone. And there is hope and there is healing. We thank those in the press who have respected our privacy and the grieving process, and the privacy and grieving process of the families of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. To others in the press, we gently encourage you to do the same. We thank the many people across our nation and beyond who have reached out to us, prayed for us, and extended their kindness. You too have helped us on our journey to heal.
That's sweet, and I like the way that they're like, telling everybody thank you and hoping that everybody understands. Hi, Running Bear.
We now embark on a new path. We turn from tragedy and mourning. We turn from darkness and uncertainty of the legal process to the light of the future. We have closure. We embark on a path of hope and healing. We invite all of those who have mourned with us to join us, and we wish you well. Thank you. I will now share a few words of my own. Over the past 2 years, I've been amazed and humbled by Karen and Scott's strength, endurance, and faith. They have uplifted me and so many. They founded a nonprofit to help others in the name of Maddie. They have been a beacon of hope amidst a dark and tragic time. To those young and bright attorneys out there looking for purpose and meaning in your profession, I invite you to join the effort of crime victim attorneys to bring victims justice with compassion, empathy, humility, and understanding. This case is not the end of violence. This case is not the end of lawlessness. We need your help to bring hope and healing to the innocent caught in the crossfire of life. Thank you all.
Was it sentenced on the because I think Running Bear, his sentence is going to be July 23rd. Was BTK sentenced on July 23rd? You did hear my landlord's rooster. She got a bunch of baby chicks, and 2 of them appear to be roosters. So they are out there doing that. One of them is my daughter named Gojo, and the other one, my landlord named Blue Sapphire. They're both very beautiful. Mac Daddy is out there somewhere as well. Those are the babies that were crowing.
Even this in this.
We watched that yesterday. We can watch real quick. I was completely floored. Dr. Ramsland.
I want to bring now, though, and we're joined exclusively by her, renowned forensic psychologist, Dr. Catherine Ramsland. As you may know, she was Brian Kohberger's professor and advisor at DeSales University in Pennsylvania. She has
I didn't know that. Okay, so yeah, this should be interesting.
not spoken publicly about Brian Kohberger until now. She's been on this show talking about other cases, but she's been very, very careful not to talk about Kohberger because of the trial, because she was going to be a witness at the trial, and she now feels comfortable to open up to us. And we've got so many questions, Dr. Ramsland, that I've got so many questions I've wanted to ask you for so long. I want to start with, how did you first meet Brian Kohberger? What classes of yours was he in?
Okay, I want to be just clear that I'm still within the FERPA limitations that protect students and student information. So I will talk within that. I met him in the fall of 2018 when he came to DeSales University. He had an associate's degree and he was going to get into our 4-year program as a psychology major. He selected the forensic track, which made him an advisee for me because I managed the forensic track. And he was also in my class that semester.
And Dr. Ramsland talks about FERPA. I should have mentioned that there's a law, it's a federal law, I believe, that she is not allowed to talk about certain aspects of a student, their grades, certain parts of their academic life. It's almost like a HIPAA. So she's going to tell us what she can, but unless Brian Kohberger signs off, she's legally not allowed to talk about certain elements of his academic career. So just keep that in mind if there's some things that Dr. Ramsland can't answer.
So I see a lot of you saying, like, Running Bear says she's a scary ass woman. Dandy Lioness says, I deeply dislike that woman. What's the deal with this woman? Because I don't know anything about her, really. We do have a zoo here. There is, I think, 22 chickens. And then my landlord's daughter has 2 goats that one is a boy and one is a girl, and I milk the girl nightly. And then I have 3 geese and, of course, Basil the rabbit. So we do have a zoo here. I almost bought some chicks too, but we're trying to move, and I figured that I would get in really big trouble if I bought some chicks. But they had some at the Tractor Supply. Like, I almost came home with some because I'm going to get some anyway to lay eggs. And I was thinking, why not now? And then, I thought about it and I was like, well, I probably shouldn't because Mr. Speculating would probably get upset. Okay, so let's see. She's going to give BK what he wants on a silver freaking platter. SD said Ramsland's fascination and her pride in her connection with BTK seems a bit off, although I think anyone that has that deep of a passion around serial killers operates on a thin line. She gives off narcissistic personality traits. Okay. I think the same. Definitely red suspicious flags. Those housemates were not asleep, and we know that. They could have gotten help by texting people for them to send help. Maybe lives could have been saved. I've got questions about that, but I also don't want to. I want to be very careful not to victim blame. She's going to write a book about him. Just wait. Really interesting.
What was your perception of him?
Oh wow. Okay.
He seemed like eager to be in the classroom. He was polite. He was respectful, intense, and curious. And there was no reason for me to think that he was anything other than someone who was really interested in this potential career.
Was there anything looking back now that was strange about him or that you noticed?
When I look back, there really isn't anything that stood out to me. I think when you're a teacher, your instinct is to accept students at face value. You don't, start with suspicions or, and there really weren't any red flags. He was always really quite respectful and grateful. He would thank me for things. He was attentive. He would do the work. I didn't have any concerns.
I'm not sure what year he was, Mercedes. Hey, Snarky Pants. Miss Scorpio Rising, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. And that was so sweet of you. It's so nice to see you. I am not currently in my live, so I cannot. Maybe I can. Let me see if it'll pull it up. I can see who those went to. Those went to Little Linda, Maria Ebenshade, August, Desiree Colette, and Emerald Wonderland. If you were gifted from Miss Scorpio and you are aware you were gifted, please tell Miss Scorpio thank you, and I will grab the crazy train to pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much, Miss Scorpio. That is our crazy train going to make sure Stephan Sterns accounts for all of his crimes. No one's ever going to pinpoint exactly what these nut jobs are thinking. You're right. I hope that you have a good day, Michelle.
What I think it was 4 classes that you taught him in. What were those classes?
There were 3 undergraduate courses in the forensic track that I taught, and he was in all of them. Well, one was Introduction to Forensic Psychology. Another was my death investigation class, which was called Psychological Sleuthing. And the third one was called Dangerous Minds, the Psychology of Antisocial Behavior. And then he got into the graduate program in criminal justice for a master's degree. And he took a course with me called Behavioral Criminology.
Is there anything, Dr. Ramsland, when you look back and you think about the curriculum of those classes, and not getting into his specific experience, but when you think about what you taught in those classes that you think, oh my gosh, he may have used that in what he's now accused of doing here in Idaho?
Well, the antisocial behavior course involves serial killers and mass murderers, and we do a lot of case analysis. I use two books that I wrote. One was written with the BTK killer, whom you just mentioned, and his decision process and the crimes and how he thought about them and felt about them, and what was it like for him, to be caught. So that's a very intense book. And also I have one called The Mind of a Murderer, which was about various behavioral experts over the past century who interviewed killers, mass murderers, and serial killers to get as close as possible, spending a lot of time with them to get as close as possible to their process of becoming a criminal. And so he would have been exposed to that. I think now looking back, I would look at maybe some of the things that interested him as being, something that gives me pause. But we always have to think about, we all know, everyone in this field, forensic psychology and criminology, know that we could have students who might become offenders. But we also know that the majority, the vast majority of our students will not, and will instead go into a field like law enforcement, FBI, Secret Service, that make the world better, that protect us. So we know that there's always a risk that we're attracting somebody who wants to do something terrible. Hoping we won't ever have that, but
I mean, is that something that you would think teaching that type of class though? Yeah, I'm really happy for you, Snarky. Everything will go okay. I mean, would you automatically always be concerned that there's somebody wanting to do something that they're not supposed to do just because you teach that type of class? Like, I don't know. I would think that, I would be more so thinking of people wanting to enter like a 3-letter agency or become some type of detective or something, not necessarily that you could be teaching a future serial killer.
my case, I did.
Can you say, Dr. Ramsland, what it was looking back now that sort of raises your eyebrows specifically in terms of things in the class?
I think just the idea of wanting to study offenders and what their thought process was, how they felt about their crimes, wanting to study that, and then finding out that this is a person who then is now saying he's guilty of doing these things. I have to look at the framework of what I taught and wonder, did I inspire him in some way? Did I, but I can't second guess that, because I may have inspired somebody else to become an FBI agent. And that's, unfortunately, in this field, that's what we live with.
Right.
I mean, you've been studying serial killers most of your life, but when you talk about the fact that you may have, what you taught may have inspired this, that's got to be hard for you to process, I would imagine.
It's terrible, very hard. And it's not just what happened to the victims. I really thought Brian Kohberger was a promising student who really could have made a mark in this career in a very positive way. I thought that. So disappointed, angry, and very shocked that this is who he turned out to be, and horrified for the victims and their families. Just horrified. I mean, I worked with Dennis Rader closely for 5 years. I met the victims' families. I saw the devastation that these kinds of acts can have. And I have to always keep that in mind when I'm teaching these subjects.
So she does, I mean, I've heard her talk about Dennis Rader too, so it does seem like that's her claim to fame. You didn't inspire him, you tortured him. I'm seeing y'all say that. Study serial killers on how they psychologically function, yet commit these crimes, yet overlooks a guy right in front of her. Excuse me, ma'am. I mean, you got a good point. Yeah, I think he was inspired before her. I don't think she had much to do with it. He might have looked up to her because she had worked with BTK, but other than that, I don't think she necessarily inspired him. Sorry, I think she might have been, a mentor or something, but not an inspiration.
What did you think when you first heard that Brian Kohberger, your former student, was arrested for this?
I was completely floored. I didn't believe it. And his demeanor that we saw on media was that he was confident that he was going to be able to prove his innocence. So I wanted to wait and see. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. But as months go by and he kept saying that he had an alibi, and I wondered, well, why are you sitting in jail? Give us your alibi, get out. And that wasn't happening. And then it was really when he said his alibi, and it was clearly not an alibi, and he would have known that, certainly from all the classes that he had through undergraduate and graduate work. He would have understood that wasn't really an alibi. I think that was when I was really, floored that this is my student who has done these things.
Stargazing at the middle of the night, in the middle of the night during winter, is not an alibi at all, allegedly, in my opinion. Here, Sandra, thank you so much for getting 5 Speculation Station memberships. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. Thank you so much. Those went to Angie Morse, Yvonne Sykes, you think, Lindsay L, and April Eppley. If you were gifted from Heal Sandra and you are aware you were gifted, please tell her thank you, and I will grab the crazy train to pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. Okay, y'all, I've got to go for the day. I got somebody here right now. I will be back I apologize. I have to end it out early. I will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all can finish watching this later if you would like to. I apologize, but I've got to go. Thank you. Bye.